first thing that you have to remember when we are talking about word English is that word English is a kind of post-colonial critique toward global English. Why? Because we are not imposed to be English, but we have to be able to communicate with English. The problem is our language is very different with English. It is not about technical, but it is about non-technical. We have different accent, we have different dialect, we have different culture, we have different context, and of course we have different structure. Therefore, we cannot be Englished, but we can use English with our locality. So that's why we have to bring our identity when we all speak English, and it makes the chaos in English. Chaos is the point when we are trying to talk about postcolonial, because we have to resist. We cannot change tradition, we cannot change history, we cannot change the fact that we used to be colonized by those people in Western. But we can make the chaos from the problem that they try to give to us. Therefore, we try to use English as the chaos, and we have to bring our identity in English. That is the point that we have to emphasize when we try to understand about what English is. Try to make it simple. When we are a Methodist and then you are speaking English, or you are insisted to speak English because you have to be global, just try to say something with your locality, with your identity. For example, you say, when you are a Methodist, you say, "Good morning everyone, today we are going to talk English, and when we are talking English, do not forget to pray." Another case, when you are a Japanese, you can say English in this way: "Good morning everyone, today we are going to talk English, and before we are studying English, we have to pray." The very beginning of the part, when you are listening to that kind of way of speaking English, you see that it's so funny. Of course, it's so funny because you are always thinking that English has standard. Just try to imagine something. If you are thinking that there is the best speaker of English, who is the best speaker of English? Northern England, Southern England? Those people have different accent, different dialect, different way to speak English, just like Indonesian. When you are talking about Indonesian, I'm talking about Bahasa. Who is the best speaker of Bahasa? Jakarta people, Javanese, Sundanese, or who else? Who is the best speaker of Indonesia? If you are thinking that Indonesia is language, and then there are a lot of people who speak Bahasa with different locality, with different accent, different way to speak Bahasa. So you have to think the similar way with English. English also have a lot of people, a lot of situations. That's why people in England, London, Manchester, Liverpool, Northern England, Southern England, Australian, or American, they have different way to speak English. So it indicates that English has no standard. So we have to bring our locality to speak English. That is the logic of English. As you are talking about standard, I have to emphasize something here, is that when you think that when we are speaking Japanese, our Japanese locality, our Japanese identity, when we are speaking English, you mock us as if we are so funny. No, we are not funny. It is better when we are a Japanese and we speak our Japanese way in speaking English instead of a Japanese who thinks that they are an English. Remember, you are Japanese and we cannot be English, and you will never be an English. Even you are trying to speak and imitate how English speaks, you are not English. Remember that point. We are Japanese and we can bring our locality, our identity in speaking English, because we are not English and we cannot and never be an English. That's the point that we need to remember. So when you are trying to imitate yourself to be like an English, and when you realize something that you are not an English, you mock yourself. So it is the better way when you are speaking English with Japanese style. It's much better. By making chaos by bringing our identity, our locality in global by speaking English with our identity. It indicates that we have resistance here, and that is the logic of postcolonial. We cannot change our tradition, we cannot change our history that we used to be colonized, but we can bring our identity in English. And next time I will try to give you an understanding of what English is in more specific point, just like in Garu's circle or Snyder's understanding of the steps of using English in locality. That's what I can say, and thank you for watching this video, and see you in the next video about what English is in more detailed situation.